Sync FPV just launched an FPV mod for Skater XL. In this video I will give you some tips on Skater XL, my thoughts about the mod and if you should buy it or not to train your chasing. So let's dive into it. So I will start with the recommendation because I don't want to waste your time. But of course you can also stay for the whole video. I got timestamps down below if you're interested in something else. But now we get to my recommendation. If you got the game already, go for it. It's free. So really, you don't have to waste any time in this video. If you are experienced in FPV flying and you want to train your chasing and also willing to spend some time in the game to learn the game, then you can also go for it. Just to be sure, I spent by now about 10 hours in the game and I would say half of the time I was only trying to skate, not to chase. And if you're totally new to FPV or you're only searching for an FPV simulator, I would say yes and no. So to find out why I think like that, stay tuned for the rest of the video. When you start the game, you will get a screen from the Unity mod manager and you can just close it. Just make sure that the FPV mod is online. Before we dive into the game, we will grab our radio and set everything up so that we can chase our skater. For that you hit F1 on the keyboard and you will get this screen. In order to do that, hit assign on the corresponding stick and then move the stick. So like I show you here with the throttle. And then you have of course repeated for all of the other sticks. And make sure to assign a reset button and also a set spawn button, because you will need it afterwards if you want to chase with your drone. In the rates you can dial in your rates. When you want to get a more cinewhoop feeling, you have to go to the physics tab and increase the horizontal, so this will increase the horizontal drag of the drone. So power loops will be harder, but for more cinewhoop feeling you can increase it here. But you're also totally fine for the start when you start out with the defaults. Now to close everything, hit F1 again. And don't hit escape, I did it several times and this will close the game. Now some tips, probably it's handy for you if you just start out with Skater XL. To set a start point for the skater, you can just hit Y, move around and then set a start point and then do your line. And of course you will crash. A lot. Really. A lot. But I would say if you're in the game for about 2-3 hours, you're probably good enough to skate some lines and then you can also start to chase. So to prepare the replays to chase, you have to hit back on the controller and then you can jump around in the replay with the directional pad in the bottom left corner, and then you can shorten the replay with the LB and the RT button to get to the point where you want to. And when you're happy with your replay length, you can just hit A and then chase the skater. I will also show you a little bit easier way, but for me it came handy to do it like that. So now we have it. If you now want to chase the skater, you only have to switch back to your radio and then hit space on the keyboard. So this will drop your drone right behind the skater and you can just fly around where you want to set your start point. So search for a good place where you want to start and then you only have to hit the button or the switch you assigned to the set spawn. Then you hide the menu for the replay with H and then you toggle your reset switch and then you can finally start to chase your skater. And to train your chasing even more, you can do it over and over again just by hitting the reset button or switch.
And when you're sick of chasing the same line over and over again, you can just hit space on the keyboard and switch back to the skater. So then you grab your game controller again, and as you see here, we are still in the replay menu, so to get out of the menu, you can just hit B, then you're out of the menu. And then you can just do a new line. And to be honest, I played Tony Hawk's Pro Skater back then really a lot, and this game here is also a lot of fun, but it's really hard compared to Tony Hawk's or something like this. And when you now want to get the alternative for the replay menu, you just hit back, and then with the direction pad you can just toggle like we did before, but this time we use the X key to set a keyframe, and when you have a keyframe you can just hit space, and then you will start over there where you have the drone. The downside of this alternative is that when you save the replay you will get the whole clip and not only your line, and this can be pretty confusing sometimes. Now we set our set point again, hide the menu and then hit reset and start to chase the skater again. And when you're sick of chasing, you can just fly it like every FPV simulator, but there are some downsides to this game, and these are game-specific bugs in my opinion. For example, you can fly into invisible walls. And of course I don't blame the game, because the game is not made for FPV drones, but it can be pretty confusing and frustrating when you start out with the game. And you can fly through obstacles where a skater would never ever be, so like this tower for example. But there are also some things why I wouldn't recommend this for any beginner, because there's no crash model. And I don't know if I like it or I don't like it, because it makes it more realistic, but on the other side, with a typical FPV simulator you wouldn't get stuck under a bench or something like this, like you can see here. But I don't know, I like it but I don't like it, because in the real world you have to grab your quad and go over and over again, and when you fail you have to go there and get your quad. But for an FPV beginner it could be frustrating to hit reset all the time, and you also don't know, would my drone survive this crash or wouldn't it? And I think for that a crash model would be very good. So for me as an advanced beginner I would say it's very cool, but just a switch to turn on and off would be handy.
If this video didn't help you, don't tell anybody how you spent the last minutes. But if I helped you, feel free to like and subscribe and stay tuned for upcoming videos. I'm also planning a video about the big FPV simulator comparison. So stay tuned for that video and see you next time.